Hello and welcome to the Sunday Sit, a self-informed practice with me. I'm Shiv, and we started the Sunday Sit when I was called to start something and I felt it was a self-informed practice. And in doing that, it's not scripted, we're not planning it out, we are letting it inform us. And what's been really present for me is that we can often get really caught up in this spiritual journey. We're told we're not human beings here for a spiritual experience, we're spiritual beings here for a human experience. Well, yes, there was a time when I wasn't even sure if I had spirit, soul, whatever, was totally out of touch with it and was totally out of touch with my humanness as well. I was just trying to get ahead, get ahead, get ahead. And in doing so, kind of losing myself. Well, on this side of 50, when we can bring together all of our wisdom, all of our experience, and weave that into the future, perhaps our what we want changes a little. And perhaps if we concentrated a little less on the spiritual journey and concentrated more on the nature of being human and exploring that part, we might actually feel better. And I think ultimately that is what we are each wanting to do, right? We want to feel a little better in our lives, and yet so much of our lives appear to be out of control. And that can be true, right? We can't always control what life throws at us, but we can learn to better control not only how we react to it, but also how we perceive it. Oh, got an itch. Mosquitoes around. So how we perceive it. And so that's what I wanted to share today and get us kind of thinking about. And I would love to hear your thoughts, because this is not just me talking to you. I would love for you to talk back to me and tell me your experience in this, right? So for me, about was it early 2020, COVID, I was taking a walk, and I've shared this before. You may have heard me share this story before. I was taking a walk, and 5 minutes into the walk, down a busy main street, and mine started saying, your spirit is fine. I was like, what? Got my attention, and went on to say that spirit is fine, but perhaps, just perhaps, my humanness was what needed attention. My human mess, right? That my spirit was fine. Of course our spirits are fine. Why wouldn't our spirits be fine, right? But our human being, this human part of us, perhaps that's where we can pay more attention. My dad used to talk about people going to church on Sundays and then feeling like that they were good for the whole week because they went to church on Sunday. And he was a very, what we would call a God-fearing man, but he didn't go to church because in his mind, God was with him all the time. God could see him all the time. Whether you ascribe to a God or not, I'm not particularly into a God per se, but I believe there is a power. And I think that it doesn't matter what we call it, as Rabina Curtin says, it is what it is. You can call it Mickey Mouse for all you want, but it is what it is. But that thing, that power, is with us all the time. We are here today in our human bodies, and this is really what we get to explore. And I think on this side of 50, we can all perhaps agree, for those of us on this side of 50, that the wisdom and experience we bring and weave into our future kind of gives us a different perspective and makes us more aware of this human being, this nature of human being that we have, if that makes sense. So I think that the Sunday Sit wants to explore more about the nature of being human and how we sit and lean into that. I just think that, with the spiritual journey, we just deleted the videos for the Kundalini that I taught it for 20 years, and practiced, and had 1,400 videos. And those are all gone because we get to learn that, it's not all as it seems. But our humanness, this is it. We are it, right? We are in this body, we are in this mind, and we're perhaps looking for solutions that don't necessarily fit the problems that we want them to solve. So I'm thinking about, perhaps you think you need to meditate because you want a calmer life, and that's what you've read, that meditation can help you be calmer. Well, this is true in a sense, but it all depends what's going on in your life. If your life is completely chaotic, then sitting down for 5 minutes is not going to do very much for you, except make you feel like you need to do more, you need to sit more, you're not doing it right, there's something wrong with you. When really, perhaps it's not sitting down for 5 minutes, perhaps it's changing parts of the day that you actually have control of. And I particularly think about the morning. So when you wake up, what is it that you do when you wake up, right? So meditation isn't the be all and end all for getting to have a calmer life. Maybe there's something in your routine that you need to alter that would give you a much better return on your investment. Because that's how we need to think about these things. Our time is precious. We don't have a lot of free time, especially those of us who are working. That whatever we're doing, don't have a lot of free time. So how do we use that time, and what's the return that we get for it? So perhaps it's more about how you structure your day, beginning with how it begins. Because how it starts is how it's going to be influenced during the day and how it's going to end. So if you wake up and immediately, my phone's there, but immediately pick up your phone and start looking at Instagram or Facebook or what everyone else is doing that you're not doing, that's not a great start to the day. And it will just suck you into a vortex that you don't want to go into. If you can learn to take the beginning of your day for yourself, no social media, no TV, but actually being able to be with yourself and your own thoughts. Perhaps you want to work out. That's what I've been doing for the last now 83 weeks. Yeah. I used to think that this structure, I wanted freedom, right? So I felt like structure was the antithesis of freedom. And what I've actually learned is that structure is not the opposite of freedom. Structure is actually the container in which freedom can find itself. Think about that. Structure is not the opposite of freedom, but it can actually be the container, the container in which freedom finds itself. So for me, not a fan of working out, never have been, never done it consistently for more than, say, 2 or 3 months. And in the end of 2021, I came into fell into a pit of depression and menopause with hormones going all over the place. I was gaining weight. I felt just terrible. I was cut off from the world, not only through COVID, but also, as I mentioned, through losing the Kundalini community and feeling guilty in a way for, gosh, what have I done perpetuating this? Could I have seen this before? Could I have known that this was what it was? I can't go back and change that, right? But what I can do going forward is have honest conversation with myself, which is what happened. Am I doing all that I can? And the answer was no, I wasn't. And it wasn't about sitting down to meditate more. It was about being honest with myself about what I was in control of. And was I doing what I knew would help? So I started working out, just small, but consistent. A change, because usually it's like gung-ho, I'm gonna do this, and then of course you fall off. But I made this a non-negotiable. And I'm accessing a part of my human self that I have never accessed before. I'm also being able to be reflective in the kind of human I want to be in the world. Who are you in the superstore or the supermarket, as we call it? Who are you when you go shopping? Who are you to the people you don't know? Who are you in your car, right? It's great to be this very spiritual person over here and doing those spiritual practices and being told what to do and how to feel. But that's just during the workshop, right? I know so many people who go to workshops and then they're just in chaos the rest of the time. Don't you want a little more control over how you feel and how you deal in your life? Well, the way we do that is to embrace the human mess that we are, to accept that this is where we are and this is where we start from, right? We can't start from over there and we can't start from back there. All we can start from is right here, right now. So we can reflect on where we've been. We can reflect on where we want to go, and we start from where we are. Not where we were 10 years ago, not where we want to be in 5 years, but right here, right now, because this is the only time we have. So, with all of that said, whatever all of that was about, shall we have a little sit so that we can reflect and think about what it really is that we need. So, nice deep breath. Been talking a lot, not quite sure what has just come out, and if that would make sense to you. Let me have a little sip of coffee. What are you drinking today? If you're watching this now, let me know. Let me know where you are, how you're feeling, and if this is making sense to you, because we have so many scripts out there and so many prescriptive ways, right? This is my way and you can do it this way. Whereas, as the labyrinth will teach us, when we walk its path, we will find our way. And it's really important that we find the way that works for us now. And the chances are the way that works for us now is not what worked for us before. If we're in our 50s, it's not what worked for us in our 20s and our 30s. But the experiences and the wisdom that we've gained from our 20s and 30s and 40s all weave into who we are right now. And we are much, much more powerful than we often give our humanness credit for. Even in its very messy state, we are extremely powerful. And we want to reclaim that power, right? Well, not even reclaim it, it's there. We want to remember that we have it, remember who we are. Because it's easy in a world telling you what to do to forget who you are. And you're very powerful and very beautiful. You're definitely not broken, but you probably need a little, maybe your habits need a little attendance, right? So thinking about the habits, thinking about your daily routine, thinking about the places that you have control of, and working with those so that you can let go of the places you don't have control of and you're not working against the tide. So with that, come seated, however is comfortable for you. We're going to close our eyes. And we're just going to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, like we do all the time without even thinking about it. But let's think about it. Let's think about that breath that gives us life. Because of all the things we have and all the things that we want, the one thing that connects us to this life and to one another is our breath. So if we can become a little bit more aware of this life-giving force, perhaps we'll get a little more life. So breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the nose, sitting up nice and tall, because just slump like this, just slump. Put your head down and slump and breathe 3 breaths. Shoulders slumped, back rounded, head down. Now, sit yourself up. Place those shoulders over the hips. Roll them back and down. Make the neck nice and long. Tilt the chin forward slightly. Take 3 breaths. A little smile on your face. Feel the difference, right? So keeping that posture, hands comfortable where they are. Mine like to rest inside one another, palms resting inside, thumbs just tend to touch. I like my elbows out because that makes my shoulders feel more like a frame. Tilt the chin down slightly. Eyes closed or a soft gaze downward. Now let's put one hand over the heart, one on the belly. And let's feel that life force coming in and coming out. Listening to the ambient sounds around us. Recognizing that just because we become still, the world won't stop. But just because the world doesn't stop does not mean we can't get still. Your thoughts will come and go. That's okay. But using the breath as an anchor for your mind, so you can mentally repeat to yourself, breathing in, breathing out. You can even visualize breathing in divine light, divine life force, and breathing out all that has served you. Allowing your mind to be kind, a kind friend, there with you on the journey. Recognizing that everything we do and want begins with our mind. And so if we can get our mind on board, we can then do anything we set our mind to. It's the starting place. It's also the place where we can hear the whispers of our inner wisdom, our intuition, our gut feelings. But so often we forget about. But that inner compass, that inner GPS, that inner knowing is our guiding force. It doesn't need definition. It just needs a little quiet. If you'd like, you can take your hands back down, keeping that sensation of belly and chest rising and falling. Nothing to do, nowhere else to be. World making its noise. Allowing us the opportunity to practice finding our own stillness with the world moving around us. For if we only practice in the quiet, then when the world gets noisy, we will lose ourselves again and again. And we are not here to be lost again and again. We are here to lose ourselves, find ourselves, lose ourselves, find ourselves. And the one constant through all of that is our breath. Our bodies will change. Even our minds will alter. But our breath, that's the constant. And yet we pay so little attention to it. Becoming aware of how our body breathes in the different aspects of being human. When we're terrified, when we're nervous, when we're excited, when we're calm. The breath will tell you all. Busy morning for planes this morning. As we sit, people are flying overhead. It's okay. It doesn't have to be quiet on the outside for you to be quiet on the inside. And now as you continue sitting, just breathing, experiencing yourself, let's pull a card from the Radiant Threshold deck and see what it has to say to us today. Breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the nose, letting your shoulders relax, letting your human being just take a pause. Here we go. Number 60. If you have your eyes open, you'll see it. But you don't have to, you can see it afterwards. I'll show you once we bring our eyes open. So let's see, number 60, the last card in the deck, the mystery. Light flickers across a dark expanse, shifting from small points of light to diffuse spheres. Nothing stays still for long. What is real, what is permanent, is anyone's guess. You see, just like we've been talking about. There are certain questions we can't ever know the answers to. Our awareness of that which we cannot know, our never-ending search for answers, is an essential part of being human. You can't make this shit up. It drives us forward and makes us question the world around us, the nature of being human. Let's lean into that. That was my ad. However, there is a peace and power to be had in sitting in the dark with the mystery. Accept that you do not know. It offers a freedom. Were we not just talking about what freedom means? Were we not just talking about what being human means? When this card is drawn, it urges you to think about what in your life currently has no answer. What are the mysteries that hold sway in your life? What is unknown? Unlike the fog card, these mysteries are not the kind that are self-imposed. If something exists as a deep mystery in your life, it also means you don't have much control over it. Again, we just were talking about control, right? We sit in the dark, we allow the mystery to wash over us. So as we're sitting here now, allowing that mystery to wash over us, the wonder, the questioning, these move you forward in your life. So treasure them for the gifts that they are. The mystery is only revealed at its own pace in its own choosing. You can never force the understanding. Instead, it reveals to you only at the right time. This is very much like the practice that we're doing, self-informed, not scripted, right? So it can reveal itself so that amidst all of the chitter-chatter that we might go through, say, in this morning, there may be some little nugget that hits you and you go, oh, yes. A note, if you have a desire and you don't know how to get there, that is okay. The first step is knowing what you want. Making peace with the I don't know is necessary in order to find out how to get there. You see, so much of the spiritual work tends to give us a destination, tends to give us a prescriptive journey, tends to tell us what to do and how we should feel, and we can often feel that we're not up to it. But if we lean into the nature of being human, that we are exactly where we need to be, that we are not broken, that our soul is perfect. Our habits may need attendance. From this point, we can really start to feel self-informed about what it is we need to do and have an honest conversation with ourselves. No one of us is the same, and yet we all share the same humanness. So as we bring this to a close, breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the nose, relaxing the shoulders, allowing ourselves to be fully human, right here, right now. Getting honest with ourselves of what it is we want and where we need to go. Letting go of the expectations, letting go of the prescriptions, and finding our way, finding your way that works for you right now. Let that be your meditation for the week. Let that mull over in your mind. Let that be the question you ask yourself. Take a nice deep breath in, suspending the breath, relaxing the tongue from the upper palate, and exhale. One more. Inhale, suspend the breath, relax the shoulders. Come on, give yourself a smile. There you go. Exhale. Let's do one more. 3 is better than 2. Inhale. Suspend the breath, relax the shoulders. And exhale. Flutter your eyes open. There you are. This was your card. The nature of being human. I think this is a path more of us need to explore, because this is who we are. Our spirits are fine. Why wouldn't they be? They're our spirits, right? So we don't have to get distracted looking after our spiritual side, because there is no side to that. Our spirit is our spirit. But our human being, that is. I'm Shiv. I think the temperature's getting high for the phone, so this is time to sign off. I'll see you next week at Sunday at noon. In the meantime, let me know the nature of your being human. Where are you right now? What does that mean to you? I'd love to know. Let's get that conversation started.